The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the set of my show, The Right Side. Today, I want to talk about President Trump's strategy in Venezuela. I have been saying for 2 months on this program that it is a masterclass and a multifaceted approach to what needs to be done in that region of the world. Today, I'm going to zero in on President Trump's powerhouse strategy against Venezuela's Maduro and his regime, his Tony Montana drug cartel regime. From pressure tactics that are yielding real defections of high-ranking officials to our side, to the brewing ridiculous liberal pushback on Capitol Hill. And if I were asked to give President Trump advice, I would give him one simple piece. Draft a speech, a scripted speech, and deliver it to a joint session of Congress, Mr. President. No fluff, just the truth, just what we would expect from you. So let's talk about that today. Ladies and gentlemen, The Right Side with Doug Billings. Let's get into it. So a recap of President Trump's strategy. For at least 2 months now, I've been laying out how President Trump's actions in Venezuela are a masterclass in strategic pressure. It's not about empty threats, folks. It is designed, Trump's actions and his policies are designed to isolate Maduro and isolate him specifically from his inner circle, stir up anxieties and fear among those advisors and those officials, and get them to defect to our side. Think about the tools that are in play here. Obviously, we see the bombings of the drug cartel boats, the drug smuggling boats, cutting off the cash, cutting off the money flowing in to Venezuela from the sale of those drugs. Trump has amassed a huge naval fleet off the coast, a constant reminder to Maduro when he wakes up in his Tony Montana drug cartel mansion and he looks out the window and he sees off in the distance in the bay American ships, the USS Gerald Ford aircraft carrier, and a supporting fleet, closing the airspace above Venezuela and surrounding countries, piling on economic sanctions one after another, squeezing the regime dry, and last but not least, CIA operatives on the ground inside of Venezuela, laser targeting satellites to the drug manufacturing facilities and the distribution centers. Believe it. And the CIA operatives often meet with and try to bribe Maduro's inner circle to leave, to defect, to come on over to the right side, if you will. All of that going on. They want to try to flip those people on Maduro. That is the ultimate goal of what President Trump is doing. Crumble Maduro from within. Without, ladies and gentlemen, a shot being fired. Without a messy, full-scale invasion. And I've been proven right. Just look at what Kari Lake posted today. This morning I'm getting up, I'm doing show prep for my program, and I see on X that she shared a bombshell letter from a gentleman by the name of Hugo Carvajal Barrios. He's a former 3-star general in the Venezuelan army who ran military intelligence under Chavez and Maduro. The guy's no outsider. He was on the inside of the inside. He was deep in that regime's core. He was one of the key players. Now, from a United States prison after pleading guilty to narco-terrorism charges, he's fully defected to our side, spilling intelligence and secrets and singing like a canary. In the letter that was posted today, and it's addressed, by the way, to President Trump and to the American people, Carvajal exposes Venezuela as, quote, fully integrated narco-terrorist apparatus. That's what the country is, a fully integrated narco-terrorist organization. And he details how they weaponized cocaine against the United States and coordinated with terrorists like the FARC group and Hezbollah, of all people, of all groups, and even created the Tren de Aruga gang. to export chaos into our cities. Tren de Arruga has been here for a long time. Well, since Biden's regime, because Biden let them in. That group was specifically created by Maduro in Venezuela to come into this country and rain down terror and chaos upon us. The general also warns about election rigging machines. It's just unbelievable. It keeps going and going. He says that software like Smartmatic had been designed to infiltrate systems worldwide, including the United States. They used it in Venezuela to capture the elections there for Maduro, according to this general. And get this, the general praises President Trump and his policies as, quote, not only correct, but absolutely necessary for the security of the United States. And he has promised to offer more classified details. Now, folks, this is defection in action. And it validates everything that we've been saying on this program for the last couple of months. Trump's pressure is cracking the inner circle of Maduro, yielding high-value intelligence and paving the way for more flips of more members of that inner circle, and it's a huge win for the America First movement. Now, as on cue, you will have radical liberal communist socialists, formerly known as Democrat members of Congress and the elected class, come in and challenge this because what it represents is a win for President Trump, and they cannot have that. With any bold move, you're going to get pushback. And here's the pushback brewing on Capitol Hill. What Fox News reported as a quote-unquote revolt threatening the Trump playback. Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say there's a revolt on Capitol Hill. I think there's a meltdown of the radical liberal movement on Capitol Hill because they see President Trump winning and they have no plan, the left. They have no plan to countermeasure what Trump has done other than, let's go throw a no King's March or let's make up lies about Pete Hegseth bombing survivors after a drug boat was bombed, which never happened, by the way. So you've got Democrats like Senators Tim Kaine and Jeff Merkley that are pushing bills such as the Prohibiting Unauthorized Military Action in Venezuela Act. Yes, the Prohibiting Unauthorized Military Action in Venezuela Act, ladies and gentlemen. It's a mouthful, and that could block federal funding for strikes without congressional approval. Okay? Then there's another group pushing for war powers resolutions, and that includes Tim Kaine and Chuck Schumer and Adam Schiff, and even Republican Rand Paul jumped on that showboat, and that aims to bar any hostilities at all against Venezuela outright. Now, they want oversight, and at its core, I don't have a problem with oversight. After all, Congress and the executive branch are supposed to have a certain series of checks and balances. I get that. That's what the Founding Fathers intended. I'm all for it. But checks and balances and oversight don't mean that you encroach on the rights of a president as the leader of the executive branch of government to engage in foreign diplomacy, foreign affairs, foreign policy. Presidents are given wide swaths of approval from the Constitution that they are the ones who can make decisions regarding foreign policy without needing to go every time to the Congress. I'm not talking about declarations of war. I'm talking about diplomacy and foreign policy, which could include things like, bombing drug boats with fentanyl on them that are designed and scheduled to arrive in America. So the Congress, or at least some members of them, want unedited videos of the bomb strikes on the boats. There's been over 20 of them since September, including that controversial lie, they call it a double tap, where the lying left said that, hey, Pete Hegseth and the generals and the top brass gave an order to do a second strike, conduct a second strike on these survivors of one of these drug boats, and that's a war crime. Well, as it turns out, that never happened. They lied, which doesn't surprise us at all, does it? The Senate Armed Services Committee, underneath Roger Wicker, leading calls for full briefings and documentation. Again, I don't have a problem with full briefings and documentation until it gets to the point where you use those to try to handcuff the executive, the president. Reactions to all of this are split. Democrats like Jack Reed He comes out, they showed the video to a select group of these senators yesterday. Jack Reed comes out almost in tears. I've never been so deeply disturbed in all of my life as an elected official. I've never seen anything so deeply disturbing. In the morning, we're stumbling into a war. It's the wussified Karen snowflake. It's an act. It's a script that he was given. Ladies and gentlemen, please. It literally, that's not rhetoric. I'm not joking. He's given a script. He's told to go out and deliver it, and he did. But we have strong Republicans like Tom Cotton and Senator John Kennedy dismiss people like him as just simply womanish and hysterical. I think Senator Kennedy from Louisiana is hilarious. But Trump's team, thankfully, is not flinching. His administration not flinching. Again, you've heard here for 2 months, the USS Gerald Ford, the carrier group of that fleet off the shores. Trump has put a price tag. In pure Trump fashion, he has put a $50 million bounty on the head of so-called President Maduro, who is nothing more than Tony Montana on crack steroids. He's a drug cartel overlord acting as president. So Trump puts a $50 million bounty on his head. Really? I support Trump 100%. I really do. These actions are protecting the borders from fentanyl, floods, gangs like Tren de Agua, and the congressional flex of muscle here, whatever. To a degree, it's showboating. I don't want it to slow down anything. They have a right to certain things, and I think that President Trump should give more advice if they want it, within reason. But I do have some specific advice for the president, and that is, as I mentioned, a scripted speech to a joint session of Congress. Turn the challenges of these people into a triumph. Make it prime time, make it detailed, and make it unapologetic. In true Trump fashion, lay out the Venezuela plans with the clarity that silences critics. And it motivates your base, by the way. Plus, it will draw independent-minded people and voters over to our side, those who value transparency. You're already the most transparent president in the history of this country. Let's go a step further. Give a speech to a joint session of Congress. And it's perfect timing because of the midterm elections coming up. It's time to create that wow moment, that presidential wow moment. Lay it out. We have nothing to fear. The truth is yielding results. Start with the why. Maduro's regime is a direct threat. That's why we're doing these things. Exporting drugs that kill Americans, gangs that terrorize our cities, and instability in our region right at our doorstep. Then break down the how. How are you going to take care of them? Explain the naval buildup off the coast. It's not aggression. It's deterrent. Starving the cartel's finances and stirring fear in that inner circle of Maduro's that I told you about at the top of this show. The airspace closures, talk about them. They're blocking smuggling routes. They're sending a message of total domination, not just to Maduro, but to China, Russia, and the whole world, ladies and gentlemen. Those drug boat bombings, talk about them, detail them. Show how they're stopping fentanyl in its tracks, saving lives right here at home. It's all in international waters, which is under the president's jurisdiction. He can make those decisions without Congress. He has that authority under his role as commander-in-chief. And as much as possible, without tipping your hand, Mr. President, I would say, touch on those CIA efforts. Tell us a little bit about what they are doing. Gathering intel, isolating the inner circle of Maduro, maybe meeting with them, bribing them, asking them to consider coming over to our side. Encouraging defections like Carvajal's. The address wouldn't concede any ground at all, ladies and gentlemen. It's leading from the front. It preempts those oversight demands. It builds consensus. Maybe even paves the way for that authorization for use of military force to lock in support for immediate threats. Critics like Schumer would be scrambling, ladies and gentlemen. He wouldn't know what to do, not that he does anyway. The base for the Republicans and for President Trump would be fired up with resolve and independents coming over to us, those middle-of-the-road voters during a midterm election season, seeing this leadership, seeing this speech, seeing this presidential delivery of unfettered and unapologetic truth delivered to the American people. That's smart politics. And if I were advising President Trump, that's what I would tell him to do. Turn defense into dominance and unify us against the real enemy. Folks, read between the lines here with all of this. Trump's actions are careful, they are powerful, and they are with purpose. Every strike, every sanction, every intel operation is about putting America first. It's about securing our future, and it's making us great again. Just what we voted for. Don't let the noise distract. This is leadership dismantling threats with precision. And ladies and gentlemen, share this show, this 18 or 19-minute clip. Share it with your friends, family. Share it on social media. Thank you for joining me on the right side. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find me at YouTube at the right side Doug Billings. That's the handle of the channel. We are also at DougBillings.us. Feel free to stop over there and contribute. Also, I'm on Cameo. If you want a special greeting and message during the holiday season, I'm happy to do that for you. And above all, please remember, ladies and gentlemen, seriously, we are in this thing together for the Republic. Believe it. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the set of my show, Doug Billings. Hey, my good friends at EMP Shield, that's electromagnetic pulse, in case you're from Raytown, Missouri. Electromagnetic pulse could wipe out your home electrical system, could wipe out your vehicle. And thanks to the radical liberal agenda that was put forth under Administrator Biden and Vice Pretender Harris, there are lots of people in this country who want to do us harm. And maybe an EMP device would be their chosen weapon. But EMP Shield gives you a device that can protect you. This little baby here goes on your home outlets, a computer, a router, whatever you want to protect. And then they also have a larger model like this. You can still hold it in the palm of your hand that goes on your vehicle battery so that you can get out of trouble from point A to point B. EMPshield.com. Promo code Doug, ladies and gentlemen. Save yourself. Save your property. EMPshield.com. Promo code Doug. We're in this together, folks. Believe it. For the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.